Welcome everyone to episode 7. Today we're gonna talk about Genesis 1 verse 7. Vayas Elohim et ha-rakia vayavdel bein ha-mayim asher mitachat la rakia uvein ha-mayim asher me'al la rakia vayhichen. And God made the firmament, and he separated the waters that were under the firmament from the waters that were above the firmament, and it was so. So, building on the act introduced in Genesis 1 verse 6, Genesis 1 verse 7 continues describing the creation of the firmament, rakia, and the separation of waters. For the Zohar, the foundational text of the Jewish mysticism, this verse is pregnant with meaning, detailing the second day of creation in which divine judgment, Geburah or Din, manifests to divide and distinguish. So today we're gonna explore how the Zohar interprets and expands upon these words, connecting them to the core mystical concepts like the Sephirot, upper and lower waters, and the cosmic dynamic of boundary and structure. So the stage set by Genesis 1 verse 6. In the prior verse, on the verse 6, God declares, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters." Verse 7 now moves from speech to action. God made the firmament. The Zohar views this progression as crucial. Vayomer versus Vayas. Vayomer Elohim, which means God said, indicates the divine decree or utterance, often associated with Malkut, which is kingdom, where the potential for creation is enunciated. Vayas Elohim, God made, signals the actualization, the realization of that decree in the cosmic architecture. It emphasizes the transition from word to form, a hallmark of the second day's theme of concretizing boundaries. So Geburah's emergence. The second day is closely linked with Geburah, might or judgment in English, which sets limits and partitions. The shift from saying to making exemplifies Geburah's power to tangibly shape the cosmos, ensuring that infinite possibility is now structured and ordered. So God made the firmament, meaning of Vayas Elohim et ha-rakia. Rakia as a spiritual boundary. The Hebrew word rakia comes from a root meaning to spread out or to hammer thin. The Zohar understands this firmament not merely as sky, but as a cosmic membrane. An interface. The rakia stands between the upper spiritual and the lower material realms, directing how divine influx, Sheva, flows. It allows just enough spiritual influence through so that creation can exist without being overwhelmed by the infinite. Dynamic partition, although it separates, it is also a conduit. The Zohar often describes the rakia as a veil that can be partially translucent, a medium for moderated light. Multiple rakiot. In some Zoharic and later Kabbalistic texts, there is mention of multiple firmaments, 7 according to certain traditions. Verse 7 focuses on the primary cosmic rakia relevant to day 2, Yet within the supernal universes, each layer or heaven can act as a rakia for the layer below it. So the process of making, divine artisan, God made the firmament, portrays the divine as a craftsman who shapes the cosmos with skill and precision. In Zoharic terms, this craftsmanship is not separate from the utterance of verse 6, but a further specification moving from let it be to here it is. Sephirotic correlation, the act of making, can be linked with Malkut or Yesod, the lower Sephirot that transform the abstract potential from the upper Sephirot to concrete reality. Sometimes the Zohar associates Asiyah, in English making, with the lowest of the four worlds, which is Atzilut, Beriyah, Yetzirah, and Asiyah, thus highlighting the dimension in which spiritual concepts become tangible forms. So separating the waters, Vayavdel bein hamayim asher mitachat uvein hamayim asher meal, the cosmic waters above and below. As in verse 6, we again encounter the concept of waters, mayim, being divided. Upper waters represent supernal or spiritual domains, often linked to Bina, the upper mother or higher. These are the refined, loftier waters that remain close to divine essence, still effusive, pure, and unbounded in many aspects, or in many respects. Lower waters symbolize the material or manifest realms, as well as the more tangible spiritual planes. They may also correspond to the watery domain of emotions, physical desire, and the created order. According to the Zohar, these lower waters long to be reunited with their source above. So the nature of the separation, active division, Vayavdel, underscores an energetic act. The Zohar sees Geburah at work. Divine judgment ensures each region remains in its proper place, maintaining cosmic balance. Without this separation, the lower waters would either overwhelm creation or become lost in the upper waters. The Rakia ensures a structured relationship between transcendence, which is above, and immanence, below. The cry of the lower waters. A well-known Zoharic motif is that the lower waters wept upon being separated from the upper waters. This has several spiritual implications. Yearning for reconnection. Everything in the lower realms desires to ascend, to be reabsorbed in or reconnected with its higher source. This cosmic longing forms the basis of prayer, teshuvah, in English return, and the impetus for spiritual elevation. Human role. Humanity through mitzvot, which is commandments, and holy actions, can rectify and elevate aspects of the lower waters, channeling them upward. In turn, blessings can flow back down, bridging the gap. So define names and attributes the role of Elohim. Throughout Genesis 1, the text specifically uses the name Elohim, a name associated with din, judgment, or Geburah, might. The second day, with its emphasis on separation, repeatedly highlights Elohim. Why judgment for separating waters? The infinite light of God, Ein Sof, must be constricted or measured to form distinct spheres, upper and lower. If everything remained fused, the worlds would not function as independent realms. Thus, the power to demarcate is a type of judgment or limit setting. No kitov, as the Zohar often notes, day 2 lacks the phrase, "it was good." One reason is that judgment alone, without the balancing presence of chesed, which is kindness, it remains incomplete. The cosmic design only appears fully good when separation eventually enables harmonious growth, seen more clearly on day 3 and beyond. Vayhi Chen, and it was so. So here we have instant fulfillment. The concluding phrase, Vayhi Chen, in English, and it was so, consistently appears after God's decrees, indicating immediate effectiveness. Divine word as reality. In human terms, speech and action can be disconnected. In the divine realm, the moment God speaks, creation manifests. The Zohar finds in Vayhi Chen a mark of perfect alignment. The will of Elohim is instantly fulfilled in the cosmos. So the continuity of creation, while the verse suggests an accomplished act, because in English means it was so, the Zohar reminds us that creation is not one time, but ongoing. First, as a perpetual upkeep. Each day, the separation of waters is renewed by divine vitality. Vayhi Chen testifies to a constant state. The cosmic boundary is continuously maintained by the ever-active name Elohim. Spiritual application. In personal life, Vayhi Chen can symbolize the acceptance and internalization of higher principles. Once we hear the divine message, we aim to embody it in practice so that it is indeed so in our lived reality. So the Sephirotic dynamics of verse 7, first as a Geburah's prominence. As day 2 is associated with Geburah, the verse exemplifies how that attribute shapes reality. Separation and restraint. Geburah ensures that the upper waters, symbolizing elevated spiritual energies, do not flood the lower realms uncontrollably. Definition of zones. Without boundary, the concept of a lower dimension does not truly exist. Only by defining a threshold, the firmament, does the cosmic architecture gain vertical hierarchy. Integration with other Sephirot. While Geburah reads, the Zohar often emphasizes that each Sephirah interacts with the others. So Hesed from day 1 is still present. God's kindness saturates creation. But now Geburah steps in to shape that kindness into structured realms. Tiferet, harmony, emerges in subsequent verses, ensuring these dividing lines contribute to overall balance rather than discord. So Zoharic reflections on the firmament's spiritual meaning between above and below. So Genesis 1 verse 7 underscores the cosmic tension between above and below, a tension that the Zohar sees mirrored in the soul. Spiritual aspiration versus earthly existence. The upper waters can symbolize our lofty consciousness, which are devotion, insight, and purity. The lower waters represent our worldly urges, physical needs, and emotional flux. The firmament is the boundary that keeps each realm in its rightful place, while still facilitating a relationship between them. Personal firmament. In daily practice, we strive to maintain a holy boundary to ensure that while we live in the material world, we do not drown in it, yet we also draw spiritual vitality from above and integrate it properly. So the role of human beings. The Zohar frequently portrays humanity as the bridge between upper and lower, elevating the lower through ethical living, prayer, and Torah study. Humans can refine the lower waters, sending spiritual vapor upwards, so to speak, drawing down the higher. Simultaneously, we attract blessings from the supernal waters, ensuring that the material realm is nourished and aligned with divine purpose. So why day 2 lacks the good pronouncement, yet ends with Vayhi Chen? So as noted, day 2 stands out for not saying, and God saw that it was good. So the Zohar offers multiple insights on this. First, as incomplete process, because day 2 focuses on division alone. It isn't final. The goodness emerges when separation is used as a foundation for unification and creative development. Another insight from the Zohar is still necessary, although it lacks the explicit label of Tov. The verse ends with Vayhi Chen to show that God's will regarding separation is nonetheless accomplished. The structure is set, waiting for day 3 and subsequent acts to bring more explicit revelation of the beneficence in this design. So if we compare Genesis 1 verse 6 and the 7 in the Zohar, verse 6 emphasizes God's command, which says, "Let there be a firmament," introducing the idea of partition, whereas in verse 7 describes God's action instead of command. So the firmament is made and sets the division into practice. So from the Zohar's vantage, verses 6 and 7 are part of a single process. Conception is in verse 6, execution in verse 7. The repeated theme is Vayavdel, which is the divine separation, highlighting how the second day's reality is shaped by judgment and structure. So we have practical meditations and lessons. First, embrace of constructive boundaries. From a Zoharic perspective, verse 7 encourages us to appreciate boundary, making as part of divine wisdom. In spiritual growth, healthy boundaries on our impulses, time, speech, or relationships reflect Gebura's holy function. Second, we have yearning for elevation. We learn that the lower waters long for union with the upper waters. This resonates with the soul's innate longing for a higher truth. The Zohar sees this verse as a cosmic invitation. The path of spiritual life is not to erase distinctions, but to sanctify them. Our efforts, such as prayer, studying the Torah, mitzvot, become channels for reconnecting the waters, bridging heaven and earth in a purposeful way. So balancing above and below. By acknowledging the firmament within, we can cultivate a balanced approach, wholeheartedly engage in earthly responsibilities, or in this case, lower waters, yet ever striving to maintain awareness of the higher origin, which is upper waters. The firmament ensures a dynamic flow without confusion or conflation. So we're gonna summarize today's Genesis 1 verse 7. Firmament as active partition via as Elohim signals that the spoken decree of verse 6 now takes concrete shape. The rakia becomes a divinely crafted boundary between upper and lower realms. Waters separated. The Zohar reads waters above as lofty spiritual energies and waters below as manifest creation. Their separation is vital for orderly existence. Gebura's signature. Day 2's energy is judgment, the discipline that demarcates cosmic levels. No kitov, or in English, no it was good, is pronounced because the purpose of this separation is true harmony has yet to be revealed in full. Human parallel. We each have a firmament within, a necessary spiritual boundary. Recognizing and maintaining it allows us to partake of higher consciousness while managing our earthly responsibilities. Ongoing creation. Vaihichen confirms that God's will is continuously enacted. This partitioning and the interplay of above and below remains an ever-present dynamic in the universe. So ultimately, Genesis 1 verse 7 is not a mere footnote about dividing waters in ancient cosmology. For the Zohar, it is a living drama of how divine energy, through limitation and separation, enables a structured world to emerge and thrive. So by understanding and aligning with this blueprint, we learn how the balance, transcendence, and immanence in our personal spiritual lives, honoring the firmament that allows all levels of existence to fulfill their role in the divine plan. That's it for today. Thank you for your donation. Be blessed, everyone. I will see you on the next episode.